we welcome Tobias Grocholl with his presentation, What if tires and roads could talk? What stories would they talk? Tobias is responsible for strategic innovation management for AIoT projects of Bosch's global key accounts. The stage is yours.
So I hope everybody can hear me. I now have a pretty shit job, so it's me between the lunch break. So I hope you stick around. And I want to talk to you about tires. Okay, I think everybody here knows what a tire is. And I think we all commute in vehicles that use tires each and every day, right? Whom of you already explored or encountered a tire blowout, for example, or a problem with your tire? Some. What happened? I mean, your journey stopped, right? And it's also a safety critical topic. I brought some statistics with me just to set the stage right. And if we look at the US, for example, this is from 2020, 664 people died because of a tire blowout, which is quite a lot, right? Then almost half of Americans have experienced a tire blowout. And basically, if you have a tire blowout in the US, 45% of the SUVs roll over. So actually, tires are a safety critical asset. If we look back in time, there has not been much of technological advancements when it comes to, I call it tire safety. So I'm not talking about the rubber as such. I want to talk about, for example, what was called back then the Bosch bell. This was the first patent, and it was a bell that actually sat on the valve of the tire. And when the tire lost pressure, it rang. So if we fast forward to today, we still have something that sits on the valve of the tire in the inner side, right? What happens? You lose pressure, and it's not ringing a bell. It sends a signal to your car. That's it, right? So from a technological advancement, nothing much happened. And there was a situation where I said, why is this, right? There must be a potential to actually create a digital twin of a tire, to increase safety, to actually acquire data out of a tire, to monetize data, and to make them more sustainable. Just to set also the business case, right? Because what we found out is technology can solve everything nowadays. Technology can solve everything. But if you do not have a valid business case and a valid business model, you're basically, sorry, can I say that, fucked. Okay? So if you look at the tire, you see that, for example, the average marginal cost, that's this one, per hour is rough and tough $1.60. Okay? If you look at it from a marginal cost per mile, it's even less, so it's 40 cents. And, share of total average marginal cost, it's 2%. Okay? So what we basically know is that the tires account for 1.5% of fleets, large fleets, direct costs, but they influence almost 25% of their operating costs. Insurance, it can be fuel, for example, it can be overheads, maintenance, repair, and so on. Okay? So if we fast forward, I call it data is everything, everything is data. Audi, for example, now warns its drivers about slippery roads. Okay? So what they basically do is they use swarm intelligence from cars, and these cars tell other cars, be careful, slippery roads, icy roads, and what have you. So actually, the mobile ecosystem nowadays, also when we talk about software-defined vehicles, they basically need an intelligent tire for vehicle-to-vehicle communication or for vehicle-to-infrastructure communication. Lastly, vehicle-to-X communication. I tell you why. There is a situation when you look at autonomous vehicles, for example, which is called platooning situation, where cars are actually, driving behind each other. What if the very first car could tell the other cars, be careful, there's a slippery road. It's icy, right? You lose traction. And this can only be measured with an intelligent tire. Just some definition that we all know what I'm talking about. An intelligent tire is not a tire with a so-called TPMS sensor. TPMS stands for Tire Pressure Monitoring System. All of your cars have it right now, okay? An intelligent tire is actually a sensor-mounted tire. The sensor sits on the inner tube of the tire, and basically it acquires much more data. it acquires rich data types and then basically sends the data to the vehicle and then some, to the cloud basically, but also the vehicle with the help of AI can actually then take decisions. Also from a business case perspective, and then, I'm going to jump also into some tech. There is a value chain of tires, right? So they are produced, they are either shipped to actually an aftermarket player, they are shipped to the vehicle OEM, dealers, retailers, and so on. And all of these guys will basically have benefits from an intelligent connected tire. Tire manufacturers know basically the performance of their assets in the field. So it's basically a typical IoT game, right? Vehicle OEMs will understand vehicle dynamics, fuel consumptions, safety, reliability. Dealers basically have a very, very cool topic or a very cool tool to actually tell you, hey, in 600 kilometers, you will lose pressure. I already ordered some spare parts or spare tires for you. Come see me, and then I'm going to change your tires. So it's creating customer touchpoints. And lastly, fleet operators have a tool to actually lower their costs, increase top line, right? If your vehicle is running, you earn money. So as of now, what are we basically able to analyze? And all of these use cases are actually now, so they're valid. We have analyzed these use cases since 2019. And as of now, we are basically able to monitor, typical monitoring use cases, pressure, temperature, what have you, but also factors influencing the life and health of a tire. So it's a predictive maintenance case. Our model is basically 99% correct in estimating the wear and tear of your tire. So we can exactly tell you when your tire is about to fail. Then fuel consumption with rising gas prices, this is a very cool, I think, monitoring use case. And then also factors, as I said, influencing tire life, wear and tear, and what have you. And lastly, this is the last one for the business case. So we did a lot of testing, right? And what we found out is that with an intelligent tire, you can save up to 5% of fuel. Why is that? Simply because you're running your tires in an optimal pressure. But we also found out that every 1% decrease in tire pressure correlates with 0.3% reduction in fuel economy. So there's a direct link. 95% of all tire-related breakdowns are prevented. So basically, almost 664 people would still be alive if they would have an intelligent tire. So it's all about cost, it's safety, and it's sustainability. Okay, here comes the magic. A tire is a highly engineered product, although all of us maybe see it as dumb rubber. Okay? And if we need to buy a new set of tire, they are expensive, and total cost of ownership is quite high. If you want to build a digital twin of a tire, you need to understand the physics of a tire first, right? So this lower part, for example, is called the contact patch, right? So this is the part that touches the ground. And we have actually put in a sensing unit that consists of a variety of different sensors, right? You have a temperature sensor, pressure, road surface sensor, you have a vehicle load sensor, a wheel speed sensor. And you need all of these sensors to actually acquire the data you basically need. And from there, with some magic done on our side, with some formulas and some algorithms, you basically create your models, you derive some parameters, and then basically you estimate first the wear and tear, you train your model, and then basically the model gives you the exact wear and tear, more or less. Then you also have what we call events and known parameters. So braking and acceleration events, they influence the tire, right? Because if you brake hardly, you have you lose rubber on the tire, right? If you accelerate hardly, same. And then some known parameters, what's the vehicle mass, the radius, and so on. So to create this digital twin, you need to understand the tire physics. What we have been doing basically is we use the tire data, so which is raw data. We enrich it with metadata, and we enrich it also with data coming from the so-called embedded ECUs in the car. And then basically we stream it to the cloud, where then basically we run some algorithms and then we create a digital twin of a tire. One concept we are focusing on is called the tire as a service. Okay, I give an example. Most of us, or every one of us, needs to mount winter tires in winter, right? But we found out that people drive less in winter. Nowadays, winters are shorter. You have Christmas break, where people usually don't drive too much, but total cost of ownership is quite high. You need to buy them, you need to store them somewhere, you need to change them. And what if you could rent a tire and you just pay based on the mile or kilometer you drive it? Tire as a service. You pay a monthly subscription or based on the kilometer. This is what we basically are looking at. We are also analyzing tire damages, seen and unseen damages, because they lead to tire blowouts. Right? So we are also able to analyze these and identify these. I'm going to show you in some later slides. So from an architectural perspective, it's pretty straightforward. You have a sensor in the tire. You stream the data via BLE to an onboard telematics unit. Currently, we use an aftermarket telematics unit. In the future, we're going to have an OEM integration there. And the telematics unit streams the data to the cloud, basically. What we call the data landing zone, and then also where our algorithms are running. Okay? And from there, basically, we either provide an own business platform, which we call the iTire business platform, or what we usually have is then we stream the data to the tire OEMs, the manufacturers, the Pirellis, the Bridgestone, and what have you, because they want to see this tire. And potentially, we stream it also to the OEM platforms. There is one little tiny helper, which is a mobile app. Because what we have not cracked yet, so I'm happy for discussions about that, is we need to tell the vehicle which tire sits front left, front right, rear left, rear right, and we use a mobile app for that. So that a technician actually needs to enter manual data. So if we can automate this somehow, if you have ideas, highly appreciated. The iTire platform, just for you, consists of two components. One is called the Bosch IoT Remote Manager. That's our tool for actually for use cases over-the-air updates. It's a Java OSGI enterprise application, and we use it to actually flash firmware and flash software on the devices. What we are basically capable of also doing is flashing a so-called soft SIM. A soft SIM is something where basically you enable your device with connectivity without the need actually of a physical SIM card. You just flash an update on the device and it's already pre-equipped then with a SIM card, software SIM, soft SIM. And the Bosch IoT Insights, basically that's the analytics and visualization layer. It's a SaaS service, microservice, pretty straightforward. We are using widgets for the analyzation part. And that's basically the magic. Sounds easy, and in theory, it is. Here comes the trick. So it's the hardware that is important. So that's the sensing element we are currently having. That's the telematics, is an aftermarket telematics solution, right? And by combining different sorts of sensors, by acquiring the data, enriching it on the vehicle level with additional data from the vehicle, we get basically the raw data we need, push it to the cloud, and run our analytics. So one use case, for example, let's imagine we have a truck driver, right? And this driver encounters some problems with his or her tires. Three use cases, basically. Either the driver is warned directly, maybe through a message, SMS on his or her smartphone that you have a problem, or you will encounter a problem in 500 kilometers, please take care of it. Or the driver enters a gas station and the tires are sending data and the gas station technician already knows, oh, there's a truck coming. He or she will have a problem in his tire. We have some spare tires here, we change it, and off you go. And lastly, there is also predictive maintenance use case where basically a fleet manager knows in the future I need to change tires on my trucks. I already order them and I plan my maintenance jobs right away. But there is even more. When we talk about increasing safety, we equipped some test cars. And actually we run them over so-called potholes, Schlaglöcher, right? And what we have been able is actually to identify damages in the tire. You hardly see it, but this tire has a damage, and this tire will have a blowout in probably 200 kilometers. So basically what we have created is then also a heat map like this, or let me show you here, a heat map like this. We could give this data, for example, to municipalities, cities, infrastructure providers, so that they know, oh, be careful, on road XYZ, there are many potholes. We have a problem here. So it's not only the tire and the vehicle that could benefit from such a use case. Another use case we are exploring is providing tire data to insurance companies. Imagine you could lower your insurance premium because your insurance company knows that you run an intelligent tire. They can see that your tire is always optimal inflated, they are in very good conditions, so they lower your insurance premium, for example. So these are some use cases we are looking into. Maybe some of you guys have visited the IAA, one of our key flagships events. And basically what I did is I spoke to visitors of the IAA, right, about intelligent tires. And I was probing the hypothesis because we want to launch that next year. So, and basically 4 out of 12 say, okay, I buy used tires in general. So 8 are buying new tires. And currently we are only able to equip new tires with the sensing element. Then some said, okay, 12 out of 12 would actually love to have a brake health monitoring, where we said, okay, if you want to monitor your brake, monitor your tire as well. Then 10 out of 12 would love to have it for their battery. And there is no difference if you monitor your battery or your tire, because both of them are mission-critical assets in your car. And then, for example, 4 out of 12 said, hey, I would rent tires if Bosch guarantees the tire health. So the hypothesis is basically correct. So how do we see it? We want to plan an iTire ecosystem because we cannot do everything ourselves, right? And if you look at the iTire ecosystem, basically, it consists of many players. We have the tire OEMs. They are creating their tires. We are not a tire manufacturer. You have the telematics or the hardware providers, for example. We do provide sensors or gateways, but there are many other players as well. We then have the end users, and we do have skilled software developers, AI developers, like you are maybe, who also could contribute to such a use case. So if we think of the pure or the sheer amount of tires, this is going to be a very large-scale big data game. So what I want to invite you is, if you think you want to participate in such an ecosystem or have ideas, talk to me, and then let's see where you could fit in, because we are searching for partners. So let me give you a bit of an outlook. Some trend snapshots. I'm going to dive in a bit deeper here. So where do we see market drivers? There are more safety mandates bringing so-called ADAS features to the cars. And we see, especially in fleets, an increasing awareness of telematics, right? And basically, this gives us a very good market driver to push such a solution into the market right now. And one point I want to make here is regulations and laws can be also in favor of technology and innovation. By 2024, all new vehicle registration when it comes to trucks need to be equipped with a so-called TPMS sensor, tire pressure monitoring. Our approach is to say, forget about TPMS, buy a tire-mounted sensor, it can do pressure, it can do so much more. And we will have the same price point. So since there is a regulation coming that fleet operators need to do something, perfect for us, right? That's the momentum we basically need. So the point I want to make is regulation can also be good for tech innovations. But there are still some growth restraints. So some small fleet owners, they see it as a pricey or an overpriced solution yet. And data sharing. This is always a concern, especially in Germany, right? So how to deal with data sharing, data ownership. And lastly, small and medium entities, they often shy away from connectivity solutions because they do not know it, they do not like it, they do not know how to operate it. So this brings me to my end. I hope now you got a glimpse of what an intelligent tire is and how it could change new age mobility. And as said, if you want to discuss, I'm here all day. And if you have some nice ideas, highly appreciated.
Thank you very much, Tobias. And I think it's now time to let you all enjoy the wonderful lunch break. And I'm actually looking forward to a solution for my bicycle. Enjoy your lunch break.